Okay, imagine finding a notebook, and writing someone's name in it means they die. Just like that. It's pretty chilling when you think about it, right?
It really is. And that's our jumping off point today for exploring Death Note.
Exactly. That incredibly popular suspense anime, Japanese animation, and the manga, the comic book version. And it's not just a thriller, is it? It digs deep into questions about, well, what justice actually is.
Absolutely. And to help us sort of unpack this complex story, we've gathered insights from OtakuTalks.
Ah, right. OtakuTalks, yeah. Great online place for all things Japanese anime and manga culture.
Definitely.
So our goal today really is to get to the heart of Death Note. We want to pull out the key ideas, the stuff that makes it so fascinating.
Think of it as like your shortcut to understanding why this series made such a huge splash worldwide.
Okay, let's do it. So where did this whole Death Note phenomenon even begin?
Well, Death Note started as a manga series created by Tsugumi Oba, the writer, and Takeshi Obata, the artist.
Right, the classic writer-artist duo.
Yeah. It ran in Weekly Shonen Jump, which is huge, from 2003 to 2006. And its success there, paved the way.
For the anime.
Exactly. A 37-episode anime adaptation came out starting in 2006.
And it wasn't just big in Japan, was it? I mean, it seemed to really connect everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Got tons of critical acclaim internationally. And now it's so easy to find.
Like on Netflix and places?
Yep, streaming platforms, subtitles, dubs in different languages. It just broadened the reach massively. It's a proper global hit.
Now, digging through OtakuTalks, there were some really interesting little tidbits, behind-the-scenes stuff. What jumped out at you?
Well, one thing is just remembering the writer and artist were two different people bringing their own things to it, but also the sheer detail.
You mean the rules?
For the notebook.
Yeah, like over 100 specific rules governing how the Death Note actually works. It's kind of wild.
100? Wow. That's intense. And here's something else crazy OtakuTalks mentioned. The idea of real Death Note incidents. People actually discussing them on legal shows overseas. Yeah. It's like the fiction actually sparked real-world legal and ethical debates.
It really shows how that core idea, what if someone got this power of life and death?
Yeah.
Just taps into something fundamental, doesn't it?
Definitely. About law, ethics, power, Which kind of leads us to the main conflict, right?
Well,
what hooked everyone.
Right. So we meet Light Yagami. Seems like the perfect kid, brilliant, athletic, popular.
Got it all. Until he finds this notebook, the Death Note.
Dropped by a Shinigami like a god of death figure named Ryuk.
Yeah, Ryuk just kind of drops it into the human world, seemingly out of boredom.
And the basic idea is super simple, but so potent. Write a name.
They die. Within a set time, usually a heart attack, unless specified otherwise.
And Light's first thought isn't, call the authorities.
No. He decides he can use this power to get rid of criminals, to build this perfect, crime-free new world. His vision.
But, all these criminals dropping dead from heart attacks globally. That raises some flags.
You bet. The ICPO, the International Criminal Police Organization, gets involved. They need answers.
And they bring in the big guns. This mysterious genius detective known only as L.
The world's greatest detective, completely anonymous at first.
And boom, suddenly you've got this incredible showdown. It's not just cops and robbers.
No way. It's this intense battle of wits, pure intelligence, but also clashing ideals. What is justice? Light and L have very different answers.
A total psychological cat and mouse game, super high stakes.
Exactly. So let's dig into what drives these two, their core beliefs. Maybe start with Light.
Yeah, Light Yagami. He's got this line, sums it all up. I will become the god of the new world. What does that tell you?
I mean, wow, it really tracks his whole arc, doesn't it? Starts with this idea, maybe slightly twisted, but maybe understandable, of punishing evil.
Right.
But it just spirals into this absolute conviction in his own rightness, the need for total control, a God complex, basically.
Totally. Okay, now flip to L. His perspective is summed up nicely, too. The opposite of justice is not evil. It is another form of justice.
Yeah, that's a fascinating line. It really throws cold water on any simple good versus evil idea.
Right. It suggests justice isn't just one thing. Different people, different systems.
Right.
They have their own versions, even if they clash.
Adds so much gray area to their fight. It's not just hero versus villain.
It's definitely not.
Very
and
true.
Then there's Ryuk, the Shinigami who started it all.
Ah, Ryuk. His whole attitude is kind of summed up when he just says, humans are interesting.
Yeah. Look, he's just watching a weird movie.
Totally detached, almost amused,
Right.
you know? It really drives home that Shinigami perspective. They're outsiders looking in at all this human drama and contradiction.
He's just there for the show, basically.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads us into the big themes Death Note tackles. Let's talk about Light's actions, the morality of it.
Okay. So he starts by killing criminals, people who have done terrible things.
And initially, that some people might think, okay, maybe that's not entirely wrong. It's a dark thought, but...
Yeah, it taps into that frustration, but where does it go wrong? That initial justification starts to slide, doesn't it? He doesn't stop at just criminals. He starts taking out anyone who opposes him, anyone who might expose him, even police officers, FBI agents, people who aren't evil in his original sense.
Right. It becomes about protecting his power, maintaining his control. It turns into, well, tyranny built on fear.
Exactly. It's a powerful look at how absolute power can corrupt, even if you think your first intentions were good.
And that dynamic between Light and L, it's so key. They're enemies, sure, but they're also weirdly similar.
Oh, totally. Two sides of the same coin in some ways. Both are geniuses.
Super strategic.
And both are willing to use, let's say, morally questionable methods to win. Extreme measures.
Yeah, Light manipulates everyone around him, including another Shinigami, Rem, and L. He uses deception, illegal surveillance.
Right. He locks people up without much evidence sometimes. They both push ethical boundaries hard.
It really blurs that line between the good guy and the bad guy. It makes it way more compelling.
For sure. And it forces you, the viewer or reader, to constantly reevaluate.
Which makes you think,
Mm.
okay, step back. What if a Death Note, actually existed in our world today?
Oh, that's a scary thought experiment. The implications are massive.
All kinds of ethical nightmares pop up, right?
Absolutely. How would society even deal with that? Who gets to decide who lives and dies? The potential for abuse?
Chilling. The danger to basic human rights seems overwhelming.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on a bit. Death Note wasn't just some flash in the pan. Its impact has been huge, and it's lasted.
Oh, yeah. The anime's IMDb score is consistently, super high, right?
Way up there, often over 9. That tells you something about its quality and how strongly people felt about it.
And think about YouTube. The number of reaction videos from people all over the world.
It's incredible. People watching it for the first time, just getting blown away, shows its massive appeal and the emotions it stirs up.
And the character Kira Light's alias when he's killing.
Yeah.
That name became this huge online thing. A meme, almost, can mean twisted justice or just pure terror, depending on how it's used.
That's true. It's entered the lexicon, in a way. And it's fascinating, too, that it's actually used in classrooms.
Seriously, like in school?
Yeah, OtakuTalks mentioned this. High schools, even universities, in places like the U.S. and Europe, using Death Note to spark discussions.
About what? Ethics? Justice?
Exactly. Morality, the nature of justice, power, all that heavy stuff we've been talking about.
Wow. That really shows the depth, doesn't it? How this simple idea, a notebook that kills, could launch such a deep, compelling drama that hits home for people everywhere.
It really does. It's quite something. So yeah, Death Note is, at its heart, this incredibly thrilling mental battle.
Light versus L, genius versus genius.
But it's always pushing those deeper questions on you. What is justice, really? How far should someone go for their ideals? Even supposedly good ideals.
What are the limits?
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you easy answers.
Not at all. That's maybe its biggest strength. Makes you, the audience, do the work. Makes you reflect on your own beliefs.
Yeah, examine your own moral compass. So we kind of have to turn it back to you listening. What is your definition of justice? The really uncomfortable one. If you had that notebook, that power, what would you do?
It's a heavy question. A really unsettling thought experiment.
Definitely. So, look, if you haven't seen or read Death Note yet.
You really should check it out. It's an experience, a story that definitely sticks with you.
Absolutely. And hey, even if you have seen it before, maybe give it a rewatch. Thinking about some of this stuff.
Yeah, you might pick up on new things, see it in a different light, ask new questions.
For sure.
And maybe, just one final thought to leave you with. Think about the inherent dangers of absolute power. Any kind of absolute power, even when the person holding it thinks they have the best intentions. What dangers always lurk there?